I gotta tackle this myth that a lot of people think that minorities get more scholarships because of their racial background. And the fact of the matter is, statistically, they do not. The majority of scholarships actually goes to white Americans, one. Two, in the majority of cases where you have people saying that, these quotas unfairly go against white students, like target them in a negative way, they don't comprehend that quotas actually hurt minority students, because white students don't have a quota cap. A lot of other minorities, other ethnic groups do. So black students, for example, there's a certain percentage of having black students where certain universities feel that they will be safe, but they won't go over that. And I'll just give you an example, right? And I'm not talking about that this Texas university partakes in that, but you remember the Abigail case, right? It was a white student, a white girl who basically was upset because she didn't get into the university, and she said she saw all these black kids being accepted who she felt weren't as qualified as her. So it was investigated. Now here is what they found out. So here is basically what they overlooked. There were 168 black and Latino students with grades as good as Abigail Fisher or better who also was denied entry at the university that year. Also, she could have gone to a university her sophomore year if she earned a 3.2 GPA at another Texas university school in her freshman year. In addition to that, the students who did get in that had a GPA average less than hers, the majority of them were white. And if you look further down, and again you go to www.alternate.org or any legit site where it'll show you the stats and the information, what the school has to show that Abigail Fisher didn't get into the school because she just wasn't good enough. The 92% of the admissions, you have to be within the top 10% of your school. You have to be within the top 10% and you automatically get in, or have definitely a good chance of getting into the school. So that is what the 92% makeup is for that university. Now, the remaining percentage, you have to have a combination of school activities, awards. They do take if you are lower income into consideration, but you have to have all these other activities or something that I guess shows potential within you, creativity, all this other stuff that they take into consideration with the remaining 8% that they allow admissions within to the school. And she I guess didn't live up to that as well. So you have this girl who's thinks she's supposed to be privileged to being accepted into a university, and she's pointing the finger at minority students as if they must be the reason why she didn't get admitted. No, it's just that she was basic. There's nothing special about her, and and she didn't meet the criteria for her to be within the 92% because she wasn't the top 10. She wasn't in the top 10% within her school. So, and I mentioned this case basically just to go back into my point. that you have a lot of, and I'm not saying all white students, but you have a lot of white students who go into college thinking that the majority of the minorities that are in there, or quote unquote ethnic people who are there because they didn't deserve it and they didn't earn it. So that's how they go into school with this mindset and thinking that they're above everyone else. And then that's why we see issues in Missouri University, where you see this racial tension, especially when the mainstream public has actually allowed this perception to flourish with affirmative action. They've allowed white students to really believe that the majority of Black, Hispanic, Native American students are getting into these schools even though they don't meet the qualifications, they're getting into these schools. That's the perception based off of their color. So a lot of the white students feel that they're being racially targeted when in fact they're not. And it doesn't matter. It could be a school where it's only 10% minority, or only 5% of the student body is Black, and the majority of the university is white, and they'll still have that perception as if all the white students who were there earned their seat and the minority students did not. And that type of perception really pisses me off, because if you look at the facts, it's not true. But they don't care. People don't care about the facts. They want to live in this falsehood, I guess, because it makes them feel better or make them feel superior. So we just need to get rid of this falsehood that affirmative action has allowed all these lazy or unqualified minority students to get into these universities, because that's not the truth at all. And you can look up the stats. Matter of fact, I'm going to have the stats within the description, so you guys can do a little bit of research on your own. And again, leave a comment below, because I also love to hear other people's views.
Sincere ignorance.